This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where my friends and I get together and we gorge ourselves on what's happening in the world of video games and entertainment.
The Gorge is brought to you by Patreon. That's patreon.com/thegorge, where for just $5 a month you get access to not one, but two entire podcasts. $5 gets you Takeout, a monthly commentary track where Ben and I decide, and well, now there's more of us. I've forgotten my spiel suddenly. Ben and Saturday,
see how it is.
where we all decide that we don't want to play something, so we watch something and talk over it instead. And $2 a month gets you everything else. It's our fucking, it's the bonus content tier. It's a little inconsistent.
You get quick looks. You get game shows. You get arbitrary podcasts that don't qualify for the Gorge.
That's right. It's everything.
And if you're a money-pilled secrets maxer, for just $10 a month, you can gain access to a secret channel on our Discord where Sara posts bonus photos of her animals.
That's right. You get everything that the other two tiers get, plus dog pictures. So, don't you want that? Don't you want that? Don't you want pictures of Peanut? I know you want pictures of Peanut. Peanut is the Gorge's mascot at this point.
Yeah.
The resident burglar.
He's the hurgler in chief, folks.
Someone should make a Peanut emote for streaming.
Oh my god.
Sara, you should, when you finally get Peanut a dog-sized t-shirt, you need to get it custom printed with "Hear It Hurgling" on it.
Yeah, I will. The next time Peanut does a particularly good hurgle on air, we should clip it. Just for like a Peanut soundboard sound too. So you can just have my dog hurgling in your ear all of the time.
Absolutely.
That's a fantastic idea.
I think it's really good. Anyways, all this and more somehow at patreon.com/thegorge.
All right, so we've got a busy week of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, I didn't do dick, if that helps.
Yeah, let's get through. I did not do much. I know Saturn played more demos than I did.
I feel like my thinking here is we should let Sara go first because I have a lot of game demos to mention and or talk about, but two of them I know overlap with what Ben played, and I will talk about those last so we can segue into Ben's week.
I really have not done anything. The only thing of note that I have done is this is so stupid, but whatever, I loved it. Somebody made essentially a live-action adaptation of Ted the Caver on YouTube, which if you don't know what that is, it's like the OG creepypasta.
I see.
Yeah, it's an old like journal-style blog hosted on an Angel Fire site that still exists somehow, and is about like a guy and his friend exploring, like, they're cavers. They go like the real fucked up cave diving where you like smush your body between literal trillions of tons of rock, right?
Yes, the nightmare. Yeah,
the nightmare kind. And like all the weird fucked up stuff they encounter down there. And somebody made like a cool VHS like adaptation of it that I have so far like thoroughly enjoyed. It's just it's for freaks like me, because nothing happens a lot, because nothing really happens in the Ted the Caver story except for like atmosphere,
right?
Like, spooky ambiance. But I'm a freak, so I love that kind of thing. I'm just like, ooh,
hell
delicious.
Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah, so I gobbled that the fuck up. It's wonderful. If you're a weirdo like me who's like extremely fascinated by internet spooky stories to this day, despite being an adult woman, yeah, you should go watch it. It's not called Ted the Caver though. It's called Ted's Caving Journal. And you look that up on YouTube. It's like a 20-part series. I think the whole thing takes like 3 or 4 hours to watch. Because like each episode, like some are like 20 minutes long, some are like 5 minutes long, right? Standard YouTube format. And I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, that's like the biggest thing I did that I could really talk about. I love internet scary stories. Send me more. If they're fucking lame, though, I'll make fun of you.
Right.
Because there's a lot of really, really bad ones.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm always just like, ew, is this a new spooky internet thing? No, it's the Monument Mythos. Fuck.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It was realistic eyes and blood was everywhere, though.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people are like, we can do analog horror, and analog horror to them is fucking dog shit. I'm sorry, it sucks.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much bad analog horror out there, and Local 58 is dead forever, probably. So,
Unfortunately.
Analog horror, like, what if there was a guy who wiggled and
What
the
if there
video
was a
quality
guy
was low?
Yeah, exactly.
What if it was someone's old family photo and it said, "He's behind you"?
Yeah, what was the other one I watched, like, semi-recently that was pretty good, though? Shit! I watched another one that was, like, good. I can't remember it now. Whatever. It's fine. I'll talk about it later if I remember it. If I'm, like, you guys are in the middle of talking about your demos and I just blurt it out, that's why.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay.
Okay! Yay! Yeah, so that's the only thing of note that I did. I leveled Blue Mage. I went and got Blue Mage spells with Shia. It's fine.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. And that's important too.
I'm pondering my Blue Mage orb as I watch all my friends slowly join me on the level of being a maximum Blue Mage.
I don't have even close to all of the spells, which fucking sucks. So I have
Only
to
Sev is here with me. You're all being outclassed by a baby.
I'm being outclassed by a child. It's horrible.
An infant.
What is he, like 12 years old? 10 years old?
He can't be more than 6 months old.
He can't. He has to be like 2 months old, right? Like
Right.
He's optimistically 3.5 days old.
He's a child. It's horrible. I don't know how he holds a controller, or a keyboard, I suppose.
I don't know how he maxed out Blue Mage in 3.5 days.
He was very persistent.
He popped out and was like, Blue Mage. And it's like, okay.
Time has come.
He came out the womb with etheric mimicry already memorized.
The boy was a born Blue Mage. Hi, Sev. Yeah, so that's all I've really been doing. Maybe next week I'll have something more to talk about. There's probably a lot of other stuff I need to do. That's it. That's all I got.
I'll go next then.
Okay.
Because I did 2 asterisk things this week. The first of those things is I played more Destiny 2. That expansion's still good. I'm not going to talk about it more, but they did. The world first raid was concluded.
Mm-hmm.
They did the smart thing that I wasn't sure they were going to do, but they ended up doing, which is that extremely hard raid is kind of like Praetorium, and then the La Habrea ass beating was a casual, accessible 12-player matchmade activity.
Oh, good. Okay.
So everyone got, even if you aren't like an insane raider, which is good because even without the day one challenge stuff, that raid is apparently one of the hardest they have ever made, if not the hardest.
Great. Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's been fun. The original story of Destiny is officially over, and they have immediately jumped into doing the like post Endwalker, like we're gonna fuck around and do some unrelated horse shit content, which I'm fine with because it's an excuse to revisit a bunch of stuff that got left by the wayside. More important than that though, is I have gone fully Bob Video Games mode. And I have downloaded a bunch of shit for Steam Next Fest with the intent of filling a couple minutes on the podcast talking about the variety of things that I tried so that you do or don't have to.
Go for it.
I'm going to do these in order. There's, I think, 11 or 12 games on here. I didn't count.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do them in order of how much I liked them from least to most.
Ooh, okay.
Which works out because...
list.
Because the top 2 are ones that Ben has also played.
Good.
Wait, so you liked these the least?
No, I like those the most.
Okay.
First of these is a game called Hollow Body. It's a single developer, like it's a Silent Hill 2 but it has this thing of like, okay, it's female protagonist and also nebulously kind of cyberpunky ? I don't really have anything positive to say about it, so I'm not going to linger on it.
Oh no!
Like it's not like it's horrible. It's just like one of those things like you boot it up, you spend a little bit of time with it and you go, I see the ambition here is exceeded by the actual like it's a game that looks very pretty in screenshots and videos, and you play it, and it's like, oh, this is nothing. Like this is
Right.
it's a Unity game, but it is in spirit like an Unreal 5 solo project where it's just nothing there, really.
Yeah, I've actually seen this before. I was actually a little bit intrigued by this because it looks, you know how like there will be a retro game and you'll be a retro throwback game, and you're like, yeah, but you made this in a modern console, right? Like you made this in Unreal 5, like I can tell.
Yeah, this one's Unity, but it's functionally like a UE5 kind of thing where it looks correct, but feels wrong, and there's not really a lot there. Mm-hmm. Also, it runs terribly. I know I said I wasn't going to dunk on it too much, but like it for some reason, even running at like relatively low resolutions and everything, makes my super gamer PC howl loudly, which I'm not a big fan of.
Wow.
I see.
Okay.
Next of these is Wander Stars, which showed up at one of the shows. This is a kind of 90s anime-inspired turn-based RPG thing. Mm-hmm. Its whole gimmick is that it's a turn-based RPG combat where your move that you do, you make it up out of words. So, like, you'll do, like, a special fire punch or whatever. And you will have, like, custom moves that happen based on the words you put in. That is it, and its art style are basically the extent of it. It's kind of a thin experience. I think the pastiche doesn't quite work. Sadly, it doesn't like. It feels like it was the anime pastiche doesn't actually cohere with the game itself at all, and neither is particularly convincing.
Mm-hmm.
I get. Yeah, this looks like an anime parody, and not like a.
Yeah.
And it's like anime parody by way of like it's kind of a part of something else that came out recently called Mullet Mad Jack, where it's like it's a 90s anime game, and then it's like it's not pastiching, it's not doing a pastiche or parody of a specific kind of 90s anime. It's just like the idea of 90s anime, and like ends up making something that feels completely fake as a result.
It's the kind of anime parody you would see in like a 90s Western cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, okay, well, you don't actually watch anime, so you're just kind of vaguely looking like Dragon Ball or Pokemon.
Yeah, it's got that going on.
Mm-hmm.
The next one I played, not the next one in order of likitude, Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn.
Oh no! That's kind of low on the list.
Extremely low on the list.
Yeah, so the thing is, the marketing calls this a Souls-lite, which is deeply generous. It's just a bad action game. It's just a really lame action game. It's like kind of like, look, we've got some Bloodborne shit going on, but like, it's not actually fun. And doesn't feel very good, and also the bosses don't work that well. It's kind of, it's like, the thing that I ended up thinking is, it feels like if the God of War remake had very little money.
I see. I get what you're sticking up.
And like, I like the set piece, like the setting itself seems kind of interesting. I like a lot of the characters they introduce or whatever. They're like, with what little time I spent with them, they leave an impact. You know, I like it. It's just that the game itself isn't very good.
I see.
That's a shame.
I was kind of excited about this one.
Yeah, I mean, there could be something there if you were like, I want to know, I want baby's first Bloodborne, but also I would say at that point, like, just play a Dark Souls game instead. You'll get like a depth of RPG and tactical stuff that this game just doesn't have.
Yeah, I'm seeing the gameplay footage of, because they're on Steam, they're showing like the dev like footage and whatnot. Like, yeah, I'm seeing like enemies like pop in, and it's going from a God of War camera to a Bloodborne camera, which is a little disorienting.
Yeah, it's not. It could have used more of something. I'm not sure what. I'm not a big fan of it though. Next one is called I Am Your Beast. This was at the PC Gaming show, and I picked it up because it was I was somewhat interested. It's a neon white kind of game. Though a little more in the conventional like speedrunner shooter sense, where it's like you have a level with a certain amount of enemies who you have to kill. You have like some traversal options and some like little things like okay, when your gun's empty, you can throw it at an enemy to kill them with the impact of the gun, and their gun will bounce towards you, and you can like grab it out of the air and shoot the next person with it, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is like you're playing like a fucking like one more job CIA super soldier kind of guy who has just completely gone AWOL from the word go. It's like, no, I'm not working for you anymore, and you're just killing everyone they send after you. It's all right.
Okay.
Okay.
I think part of my thing is with these kinds of games is that like they feel good if they're like, I like them if they're intuitive. Like if the speedrun stuff, if the like movement tech and things that you have to do feel intuitive. This one doesn't quite feel intuitive, but like I think the bones of it are good and it is very stylish, so like I think it could get there.
Okay.
Okay.
On a similar note, the next game I played is called Goblin America.
Oh
Good
boy.
title.
Great name.
In lieu of trying very badly to describe it, I will instead repeat its Steam copy verbatim. It is a fast-moded gun-style game set in a low-level gunk-juiced America.
Okay.
Nominally, it's also kind of a Neon White-like, right? Like it's a speedrun shooter. But you play as a goblin. You have very weird movement and shooting techniques. As far as I can tell, the story premise seems to be that you are like born in a clone vat to a bunch of sun-worshipping goblins, and your job is to defeat the forces of Bedlam, quote-unquote. And this involves manifesting into the bodies of the goblin presidents of history at moments of either great triumph or vulnerability. Which is your first real level, aside from the prologue, is manifesting into the body of Goblin Abraham Lincoln at the Ford Theater. And being informed that that guy, John Wilkes Booth, is right behind you. And you immediately whip around and dome him, and then bullet jump your way out of the theater and through like a crowded street to safety while being shot at by traffic cops.
I feel like this should be higher up your list.
Yeah, this is
very high concept Saturn bait. I didn't really enjoy playing it that much.
That's tragic.
I like the spirit of it so much that it gets a good like halfway up the list.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Cruelty Squad, but this is wet Cruelty Squad, whereas Cruelty Squad is creepy Cruelty Squad.
Okay,
right,
okay,
yeah.
I see.
I'm seeing the gameplay now, and this UI is the most deranged I've ever seen.
You would like Cruelty Squad, Ben. It is very similar. I think I prefer Cruelty Squad personally, just in terms of like feel and like aesthetic. But like this is a good one of those, you know. Next on the list, keeping up with the Goblin chain is a game called Goblin Cleanup, which is I saw the thing and I was confused by this like, okay, it's a Goblin made game. What's up with that? Like, is this like a weird thing? Is this like one of those Steam? The answer is no. It's like a cooperative multiplayer puzzle game. The premise is that so like when adventurers die in dungeons, someone has to get the dungeon ready for the next party.
Okay.
And so the dungeon master has hired you as part of an employment of like goblin cleaners to come in and clean up the messy dungeon. The puzzle part of this and the cooperative multiplayer part of this comes in the fact that, like, the dungeon's still online, and there's all sorts of deadly traps and threats and things of that nature. So you have to go through this horrible goblin death trap and try and clean it so that other people can die in it instead. And it's
interesting.
I didn't get the chance to play this multiplayer yet, and it seems like it would be a lot more fun in that way. But what I played of it is really charming, and I honestly liked it quite a bit. It's got a fun character to it. So like part of its thing is like, okay, it's not just like, oh, you have a squirt bottle, whatever. It's like, oh, your mop is, you have a trident, and you have a little machine that spits out water-aspected slimes, and so you poke them in the end with your trident, and you can mop up blood with them. But once you mop up too much blood with them, the slimes die. And so you have to go to your trash can, which is a mimic, and feed the slimes to your mimic to clean it up.
That's cute.
But you have to be careful about where you put the mimic down, and also about moving it around, because if you get too close to the mimic's front, it will instantly eat you in half. And so little things like that. It was enjoyable. I had a good 20 minutes. It was fun.
How many players does it?
I believe it's a 4-player.
Okay, cool. So Gorge bait.
Yeah, hypothetically.
Okay.
If we were to do it at some point while Steam Next Fest is still up and those demos are still accessible, I think it would be an interesting little thing.
Or just when the game comes out fully.
Or that too, yeah.
Do it then.
Next on the list is Tactical Breach Wizards. This is from the guy who made Gunpoint, and I forget what the other one that they did was, but it's another one of those kind of goofball tactical like puzzle action games. This one, I thought this was going to be a strategy game like XCOM, but it's actually a puzzle thing.
Oh,
not really what I'm here for, but it was good, and the writing is funny, and it worked. So I don't have a ton to say about it, but I did quite enjoy it. If you like doing combat puzzles and having very dry, humorous dialogue about special ops wizards, it's a fun experience.
Okay.
Next up, we actually saw a trailer for this at one of the shows we watched. I tried the Steam demo, which I didn't know there was one until I looked it up, for Inotria: The Last Song.
Which one was this one?
This is the one that had the CG trailer of the weird mask guys. The Italian game with the dude.
Oh,
with the weird,
yeah. It looked like
masks.
another kind of Souls-like-y thing.
Yeah, so this one is an actual Souls-like.
Oh, good.
Just directly, unlike Flintlock: The Siege of Dawn, it does actually feel pretty authentically like a Souls game. It's kind of a lower, a low-end Dark Souls 2, kind of like that. It has some interesting ideas about its whole gimmick is kind of similar to the thing I talked about before with Code Vein's gimmick with having equipable blood codes, quote unquote, that give you character builds. This has masks that you collect from enemies and things like that, and they have their own strengths and weaknesses and qualities of certain weapons. And the idea is that you can have multiple masks on your equipment, and you can switch between builds through the level.
Ooh, okay.
Okay.
It's a little janky and a little low budget, but it gets the feeling right, and so I could see it being a decent one of those if you're a Dark Souls sicko who wants to play more Dark Souls games. It feels like a Dark Souls game. I liked it quite a bit.
Okay, interesting.
The bronze medal goes to 500 caliber contracts, which I have here. My only notes for this is the ultimate 2004 pilled Bishy Hitman Mario 64 simulator.
Okay, I click on the trailer on Steam, and it opens to a Windows Media Maker title card.
Yes, there's also an in-game Windows Movie Maker movie that you could watch from your computer menu screen in-game that explains some movement tricks to you if you want to know them, which is very funny. This is a momentum-based platformer, they call it. It's so high up on the list, not because it's particularly amazing. I like it quite a bit. It's also a very crusty game in sort of a Cruelty Squad variety. What I like about it, though, is that moving around in the game just feels fucking intoxicating.
Oh, good.
I see.
It is dizzyingly fun just to, jump around and do movement tech. It is extremely... You basically play as, a little Neko orc with a giant 10-foot-long sniper rifle that
Nice.
You can use... technically, your job is to, Hitman, is to find the guy and kill him. That basically makes up 1% of the game. Most of it is doing weird Mario 64 jump techniques and also using your gun for parkour and doing all sorts of weird nonsense in that variety. It was a lot of fun with the time I spent with it. I liked it. Next, the silver medal, which is one that Ben has played with me, is Demon School.
Yeah!
Coming out in September. Demon School is super gorgeous and also extremely fun. In a way, I'm kind of surprised about.
Yeah, I didn't. We saw this game several years ago. It's been kicking around for a while.
It's been kicking around for a minute,
and it's a Persona but it's specifically Persona 1 and 2.
Okay.
And I only played 45 minutes of it and got into 2 or 3 battles, but those are some good battles.
Yeah, so the way its whole gimmick works is that instead of having a deep dungeon crawl thing like Or at least I didn't see a deep dungeon crawl in the time I spent with it. I also spent about an hour with it. I got maybe halfway through the demo, I think. It's quite a long demo.
Yeah.
But instead of having like a dungeon crawl with like normal JRPG combat, you get into these encounters that are basically like Into the Breach missions, where like your characters have like certain movement techniques and things they do, and you're not dealing with like big numbers so much as you are like dealing with, all right, we have to kill this many enemies before we can seal this rift. They move like this. How am I going to move these people around with the action points I have to like optimally kill things and also keep my people safe? That's the quickest way I can describe it without like getting like way too in the weeds. But it does like it works. It's extremely fun.
Yeah.
Learning it is very fun. I think the combat is like it is like the snappiest you could expect like an actual tactical RPG to be. And I think the marriage of the aesthetics and like the gameplay systems works really well from what I've tried. I'm really looking forward to buying this day one and going through it. This is gonna be my game of September. For sure.
I think the characters are really interesting too.
Oh yes,
they're definitely, we're introduced to a slew of party members and whatnot that all feel like they have their persona gimmicks. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, this one is the dumb jock. This one is the smart one, the studious one. Like, the
main character is extremely a Sara PC.
Yeah,
like, extremely.
I'm excited. I am looking forward to that one because it's been on my wish list for like ever. It
is the game we can finally get people to shut up about a Persona game set in America.
Yeah.
Like, ironically, considering I don't think this game is set in America, I believe it's also set in Japan.
Great.
But no, it plays very well, and I kind of like Saturn. I didn't want to play too much of it because, for one thing, the game explicitly said, the demo says like it drops you like a week in game into the story.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's like, hey, this isn't the introduction of these characters. Like, we're already knee deep in a plot line right now, and I didn't want to get too far in that story because I want to go in it as fresh as possible.
Yeah, but also like if the full game ends up being like paced the way it's suggested it's paced in game, where it's like it's a 10 or 11 week RPG and the length of those weeks is like consummate with how it is in the demo, like that's going to be a pretty significantly large game. It will be. I just want to go in as fresh as as I can. Well, exactly. That's the thing. Like it's coming out in September. It's only 3 months away, and I'm like, I actually love what I've tried of this. I feel resolved to buy it day one. Thrilled about that. That came out great. Yeah. The gold medal winner, and I admit I am biased here because I know people who are making it, is I played the Steam demo for the in-progress visual novel of the Devil, which is a Ace Attorney-like / Danganronpa-like, extremely well-written, extremely gorgeous, fun characters. I don't want to talk about it too much because like I just want people to go read it. It's good. But I really like it, and you should play it. It is the closest of any game I've played that scratches the itch that the Ace Attorney franchise leaves me with. It is 99% of the way there. I don't know if the future ones are going to actually have like fuller walk around bits like the Ace Attorney games do, but it's still like you get the heated character interactions, you get the fun part of like kind of piecing together the mystery as you go. They do a fantastic job of building the momentum of the evidence presenting conflict, the destroying testimony aspect of it. Yeah. The way that your momentum builds as you piece things together and go on the attack. They introduce a really cool gambling mechanic into it that I love. The gambling mechanic is so fun. Yeah, it's a spectacular game. It's absolutely like it's what I would want from someone who's like, I was inspired by the Ace Attorney franchise. Like, yes, you are pulling the right things from it.
Yeah, that's another one I'm definitely going to actually check out when it comes out, or whenever I decide to play the demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the first episode, because they're doing episodic just because they're writing quite a bit. I know the first episode is due out sometime in the next, 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
But the demo itself is free, and I think that is available, that will continue to be available outside of Next Fest as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I highly recommend giving it a look. It's really cool.
Yeah. They did a phenomenal job. If you're listening to this, keep up the good work, because I've said before in this podcast over and over again, Ace Attorney is one of my favorite franchises ever. It is the perfect blend of gameplay and storytelling to me. And so when I say that you are almost there, that is the highest praise I can give to a game that is not an Ace Attorney game specifically.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
The thing about Ace Attorney games is that you want more, but it's an almost impossible format to copy because it requires so much writing.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And if you fuck it up, it's super easy to fuck it up and make it just awful. So that's why there are not many of them.
Right. It is an ambitious. This game is kind of like the Hi-Fi Rush of Ace Attorney games, where it's wow, you are doing a combination of the most difficult kind of franchises to make a game out of, and you nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
Almost, it looks effortlessly that you nailed it. So
part of the fun of it too, to me, is that it is a cyberpunk game, and the explicit framing of the narrative is we live in a world where it is impossible to get away with crime. Because if you kill someone, there are a million things to tell them that you did it, including the Internet of Things, just knowing where you are at all times, constantly.
Right.
And they do a lot of fun stuff with that.
Yeah.
They set up later narrative things in really ways that are tantalizing. I'm very excited to see more of that this year whenever episode 1 comes out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I said on the Discord in our group chat, where it's oh, these people also wake up at least once a week and go, fuck, I wish there was another Ace Attorney game coming out.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day we'll get one.
Maybe one day we'll get Ace Attorney 7. But in the meantime, this will do nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
To fill that niche. Maybe one day we'll get Great Ace Attorney 3.
Yes.
Maybe one day.
I hope and I pray. Yeah, that's me. That's my week.
So besides those demos, I only really did besides upkeep of the other stuff that I've done. I'm progressing more into 1,000 Year Door.
Mm-hmm.
I found a thing that elevates the 1,000 Year Door above the GameCube version in a highly significant way. Which is actually adding good fast travel points instead of no fast travel points.
Oh, good.
Because I forgot about the segment late in the game where you have to go to every other town that you've been to before to track down a character to recruit him for some help with something.
The part they put in the game to make it 6 hours longer.
Yeah, and instead of having to walk through Rogueport and go to the various either pipes or blimps or trains to get to those locations, you just go to the fast travel hub area underneath the city and take the pipes to each city, and takes about a half hour, 45 minutes to do that when it used to take at least 3 hours.
Oh God. Yeah.
So significant improvement there. We as a group, we did check out the Alan Wake DLC.
We did.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's really good.
I enjoyed it a lot, actually. I thought it was extremely good, and I'm really excited for the Lake House.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah.
Remedy, like I said over and over again, Remedy are masters at telling stories, and they are using the medium to their fullest abilities.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just love their, I love their sense of aesthetics. I like the way they tell stories. I like the mixing. I love a good FMV game. So does Remedy, obviously.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just it's such a fun little piece of DLC. It was great.
It really is the the flirting versus harassment between Sam Lake and David Cage of putting yourself as the director of your in-universe video game.
Absolutely.
That first one of those in particular has some great video game slapstick in it.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Am I allowed to shout out the specific ones, or do you want to leave that for people to go and watch the
No,
stream?
go ahead.
I'll go for it.
Okay. I have two favorite ones. The first is the sign that goes, "Not this beach, this beach."
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the antagonist says, "Yes, I've got your rider down at the beach," and as soon as you walk out of the house, there's a sign. There's a sign. They're pointing in two different directions, and it's great.
The other one is during the boss fight in that DLC, where he says, "My motorcycle is also a werewolf," and the motorcycle turns into a werewolf, and then when you kill it, it instantly, with no animation, turns into a broken motorcycle.
So good.
It's amazing. It's just like the other two are a bit more straightforward. Like, they're both still funny in their own way. They're a bit more straightforward, but the first one is like genuinely extremely funny.
I was cackling during some of those bits.
Just cackling the whole time. It took us about 3.5 hours to finish, and we did pretty good. Yeah. So I think that's a pretty good little chunk DLC, in my opinion. So yeah. Please, they're putting out a physical version of Alan Wake.
Please support it.
Buy Alan Wake 2.
I'm
Please
definitely
buy Alan Wake 2.
I'm definitely double dipping for Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
Because for one thing, as we determined, that game don't like to be streamed.
That game don't like being run on PCs right now.
No, it had a rough time. We had to make some on the fly adjustments to get that thing working.
We had to make a lot of sacrifices to get that thing looking good.
And even then, it might have sounded normal for you viewers. For us in the Discord call, it sounded like it was the audio, like all the high ends of the audio were super bit crushed, and everything was making fucking Space Invaders noises.
I am so baffled as to what could be causing that, because I played back the videos and the videos sound fine. Like,
I'm so sad that we couldn't that you couldn't hear it, because it added such a layer to it. I loved it. Mm-hmm. Very funny. I don't know what happened there. But I wish it was just in the video game like that.
Yeah. The only other things that I did is I got caught up on Smiling Friends Season 2 and My Adventures of Superman Season 2.
Oh, okay.
Both of those shows are incredible. Smiling Friends specifically this season is just a love letter to animation as a genre. Because like every episode has at least one character that's animated in a completely different way as all the other characters.
Right.
They've done like CG modeling. They did the weird ink suit fake mocap from that Joel Haver does, and they got Joel Haver to be in the episode playing a character. They got Mike, Rich, and Jay to be aliens in the most recent episode, which I couldn't tell until one of the aliens started laughing, and I was like, "That's Rich Evans, isn't it?
That's Rich Evans." Rich Evans has the laugh of an angel.
Yeah, he has that gene that turns you into a howling coyote whenever you make forced mouth noises. I really appreciate it. I love hearing him laugh. It's infectious.
It's very pure. It's just like, it is infectious. You hear it and you also want to laugh.
But no, every episode has been like a total banger. They're just super fucking funny, and I'm glad this show can exist. And My Adventures of Superman continues to be just probably some of the best Superman content I've ever seen.
Sure.
The next episode will introduce Supergirl, and her civilian outfit is Android 18's outfit.
Yeah, just like literally straight up.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
And it's like, okay, cool. I like that.
Friend of the show, and well, I guess also friend of the us, Jenny, has been very loud about that. We need to go watch that at some point. So I'm like, I gotta make time for it. But like, I am like, look, that show's got that Lois Lane in it. I'll watch it. I don't know.
Yeah,
sure.
I'm simple. I'm stupid.
Tomboy Lois Lane is the best Lois Lane.
That's
easily.
right. It's easy to trick me into watching a cartoon like that, you know?
I think the funniest thing is, because obviously people are are bitching about the show for the most arbitrary reasons they can come up with. The one that I saw that completely baffles me is someone saying they twinkified Clark Kent.
Words mean things. Come on.
I've seen that character. That person's fucking stupid.
No. Words have meanings. I'm sorry. You can't just say things.
That's the opposite of talking about how thick a Genshin Impact character is.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, oh, his thighs! And it's like, that is a stick, man.
I do have... Now, here's the thing. That person is stupid, but I did have the mental image of someone drawing Clark Kent like Gamagori, and I think someone should get on that.
I agree.
I agree. I think if they weren't... If this were a slightly different animation studio, if they were allowed to be a bit more flexible, Clark Kent would just be Gamagori size, which is bigger.
Yeah.
How tall is Gamagori? How tall is he? Bigger.
That's right.
Yeah, no, great. I highly recommend both those shows for anyone who just likes animation because they're a delight to watch.
Sure.
But that's about it. So let's get through a few smaller scale articles, then we can talk about all the shit that got announced.
Okay.
Press sneak fuck Jason Schreier put out Behind Suicide Squad, the year's biggest video game flop.
There's some names that you hope a person will never live down. Press sneak fuck Jason Schreier is one of them. I hope that's
extremely good.
Here's the thing. I mean this completely lovingly. I hope he gets called press sneak fuck until the day he dies.
That's correct. I hope they're writing obituaries calling him that because I love it.
I think Jason Schreier is a total scumbag. But every so often he's a scumbag in the right direction, and this is one of those times.
Rip to Arcane Austin, but Prey 2017 did immortalize him as press sneak fuck by calling the achievement for reading every email in the game press sneak.
Oh, great!
Awesome. This is a fantastic article that just breaks down every step of the way in which Warner Brothers failed Rocksteady.
Oh, sure.
In this game.
Do you have that article link saved?
It'll be in the podcast notes. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Because I would love to read that later.
Yeah,
I didn't actually see
it.
This at all.
Yeah, it is an incredible, just a good breakdown of what happened. People calling shots that have no business calling those shots, and how Rocksteady was basically just sabotaged from every step of the way.
Sure.
And how all those things that you were complaining about, that we complained about. Yeah, Rocksteady knew and also didn't want to be doing what they were doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, obviously.
You'd have to, they're professionals. They have eyes.
Yeah, they're like, no, we made 3 Batman games already. We made 3 Batman games already. We know that Captain Boomerang shouldn't be using guns.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know that. We can see that.
Oh.
Yeah. Fuck. It's just like... Oh. There we go.
Those two also think that Captain Boomerang shouldn't be using guns.
So yeah, I would highly recommend reading this article because it's good. It's good. It's very nice.
They're so annoying.
My favorite bit of this, by the way, just as a little personal, I know I shouldn't be cackling at this, but when he posted this article, a bunch of chuds on Twitter were like, oh, well, he didn't do his due diligence because he didn't mention Sweet Baby Inc. And he responds yeah, I focused on things that were real.
Yeah, extremely funny. One of the responses is literally just I don't focus on right-wing conspiracy grifts that exist to take your money, which I just love. Very funny.
So good.
It's a non-existent thing, so it's a bunch of goobers trying to will Gamergate 2 into existence, and it's not really working. There was a little bit of traction, but that's it.
Because the guy who's trying to head this up is a guy who was so bad he got fired from Blizzard.
Yeah. So it's nothing,
Yeah.
You have to be the breast milk stealer to get fired from Blizzard.
I think it was.
I think he was.
I'm pretty sure it was Grummz. Yeah.
Yeah. If not, I'm just going to fold it into my worldview anyway.
If not, I am willing to shift the blame off of the unnamed breast milk stealer to say it was Grummz.
Yeah, we're going to foist this on him like Angra Mainyu.
I'm willing to commit all kinds of libel.
Here's the title card: Grummz is Blizzard's Angra Mainyu.
I have to object because I don't like the idea that there's anything dignified or tragic about Grummz' suffering.
Oh god.
Speaking of something that's undignified instead of tragic,
oh no.
Indie dev baffled after acquaintance clones his game, puts it on Steam, and acts like it's no big deal. Quote, happens every day, homie. What? No, it doesn't!
Okay.
Imagine if I came to your house and broke into your car and was hotwiring your car to steal it, and you walked out, and you're like, man, that's my car. And I'm like, yeah, but like cars get stolen every day, bud. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Whatever, man.
Stole my car.
Why are you freaking out so much? I'm just stealing your car. It was gonna happen anyway.
Did the creator ever eventually just like man up and use his copyright to get that game taken down? Because like he could.
I don't.
He certainly should.
The article just says that he's still considering the copyright claim, but
he's stupid. Sorry, no,
Yeah.
You deserve to get stolen from if you're like unwilling to even like flex the barest of
yeah, let me
copyright muscle. I'm sorry.
The whole point of a copyright claim and your ability to claim it is that you have to use it immediately and judiciously, because anytime you hesitate or let something slip by, it will be used as evidence against you whenever you do actually press a case.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm sorry. You.
Okay, so he did
You're
update.
a moron.
This article is like 6 days old. He did update recently that he is looking into getting it taken down.
Okay.
So he's
Like,
he's.
It's a thing I mentioned because, like, we had that news article earlier this year, right, about how Rockstar filed a suit against Remedy for the similarity of their logos, and it was like everyone was in a hubbub about it. And even then, like, and this is the thing that was obvious to everyone, but also, like, they had to basically say this as, like, no, we have to. We've already talked about it, like, outside thing, and it's fine, but we have to have this file on motion because, God forbid, it gets used as, like, evidence that we don't actually care that much that we didn't pursue it if someone else tries to rip us off.
Yeah, like, and that's why, this is actually why you should continue to refer to searching for anything on the internet as Googling it, because Google does not like, it's called copyright dilution, right?
Yes.
That's what happened to Q-tips and other things like that.
Yeah, I threw my
Band-Aids.
I threw my used Q-tips and Band-Aids in the dumpster.
Yeah, exactly. Those are all trademarked, like, those are all like brand names that have become like genericized.
I photoshopped a picture of a dumpster.
Yeah. Because of copyright dilution. And yeah, that's why you should always call searching for things on the internet, Googling it, so that you can do at least some kind of damage to the Google brand, because that's always funny. But it also means that if you're like a small time developer and you don't wield your copyright, what are you doing?
You're a fool, yeah.
What are you?
Especially because
you spent the money, because getting the copyright costs money, right? Like, that shit costs money. If you spent the money and you're not using it, then why'd you get it in the first place, right?
It's the only lever of power you have.
It's literally, listen, there's a lot to be said about how broken and fucked up the copyright system in the United States of America is. But yes, it is currently your only lever of power if someone jacks your shit.
If a guy who calls himself your friend jacks your entire game wholesale and tells you to get over it, you have legal carte blanche to hook his nuts up to a car battery in your basement.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry, dude, you gotta copyright strike him. It's the only way.
It's amazing.
For anyone who doesn't actually know what we're talking about, because I don't think we really covered it that well, there was an indie dev named Kinda Nice made a game called Dire Decks, which is like a little card puzzle game. and an indie developer named Terry Brash. Or no, Terry Brash. Yeah, Terry Brash is the one who just wholesale stole the art assets for the game. And put out his own version of it. And since he technically beat Kinda Nice to the punch of putting out like the full version of it. But since the demo for Dire Decks was on itch.io already, like that's why Kinda Nice even has any kind of claim at all, is because there was a demo of it already out.
Right.
So that's like the screenshots, like it's 1-to-1. Like he just, like the guy just stole all the art assets from Kinda Nice.
Oh yeah, it's like exactly. It's 1-to-1. Yeah.
And yeah, quote from Brash. I'm confused. What's weird here? I like the game, so I made a clone with extra stuff. Happens every day, homie. What?
I mean, it's audacious. It's funny.
It's very funny. I do think he deserves to be financially ruined.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he deserves to be like hit with a car. Ideally.
If you're that kind of self-serving sociopath, understand that you do in fact deserve everything bad that ever happens to you.
That's correct. Right. It's the comedy, like the audacity of it just becomes comedy eventually.
Like how sociopathic are you?
Yeah.
To literally
deeply evil.
To literally do you made this? I made this. Like in real life.
Yeah, it's insane.
By the way, all the stuff about copyright and trademark names and stuff like that is the reason why every single Transformers toy out there says convert or change in the instructions and not transform. Because if you are a transformer that transforms, well, that's a genericized word and not a copyright anymore. And that means every other toy company can put out their own transformer.
Right.
Actually, these 3 articles, I didn't mean to put them in this order, but this all sucks. But
oh no!
Anime Studio Gainax files for bankruptcy.
Okay,
I've been looking into this more. This is they have been a walking corpse for like a decade.
Yeah, they don't make anything.
All their talent left for Trigger.
Yeah, well, all their talent, half their talent left for Trigger. The rest of them left for Studio Karo, which is Hideaki Anno's studio, who've been doing like the Evangelion rebuilds. Gainax, as far as accounting goes, has not really been making anything. Has mostly just been a sinkhole for massive amounts of debt. And also the CEO in 2019 got arrested on unrelated crimes, and literally Hideaki Anno had to threaten news articles to stop saying that they're Gainax is the Evangelion studio, because they are not currently. And he's like, you are damaging our brand and our business.
Wait, what? I didn't know he got arrested. What did he...
Oh
no!
I didn't look up the specific thing, but it was given as an unrelated crime.
Mm-hmm. It was harassment. It was it was pervert crimes.
Yeah, that's
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently what they're doing now is like I know Studio Kara, and I think some of the other the reason Imaishi was able to buy back PSG like a year or two ago or whenever that was, is because Gainax has been so fucking in debt. It's just like, yes, please pay us for this thing. You can have it. Fuck it.
Right.
And apparently now half the things going bankrupt, like Hideaki Anno and a bunch of other studios who have history and interests in the IPs possessed, are working on like trying to figure out ways to divest them to who's going to that. So I'm certain we'll be hearing more about that in the coming months or years or whatever.
All right. Well, that's all the small scale stuff. Let's talk about Summer Game Fest.
What do we got?
Long gone are the years of gamer Christmas.
This is not even gamer office party Christmas. This is
Yeah,
I think we talked a bit about it in the coverage, but I'm realizing the problem with Summer Games Fest and all the mini shows is that when you had E3 and like you only had a couple of publishers doing shows because they were really expensive to do. And when you had companies having to spend a shitload of money to get spots at those publisher shows, what happened is that there was a lot more care and effort put into the things that were shown.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And there was a higher standard of a thing having to be real and also worth showing to people. But when Jeff Keighley goes like, I'll charge you $450,000 and I'll play whatever the fuck 2.5 minutes of content you want me to play, I don't give a shit. You just get tons of fucking useless crap.
You just get a bunch of garbage over and over again. And I'm literally scrolling through the list and like... I think the only thing that made my neurons fire was the Alan Wake 2 thing and the Blumhouse games.
Blumhouse stuff looks really good.
All the Blumhouse, like, little horror projects. I think that looks cool, but that's because I'm a sicko who love little horror games. Like, I fucking love a tiny horror game.
Yeah.
I liked the fact that the Among Us devs are, like, funding other indie games.
Yeah, that's really cool of them.
And
we
I
saw
think
we did
that
see
was literally it.
We did see the clips of the Among Us TV show, and we're both like, oh, is it going to be like little like Tom and Jerry silent cartoon? And then it showed a cast list with like Patton Oswalt on it,
and we were all like, oh,
yeah,
never
just like a colossal mistake.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm literally looking at this list. Like, I'm just scrolling through the IGN page, and like,
Wanderstop looks good.
Yeah. Wanderstop looks fine.
I'm excited to see it when it comes out because I like that guy's writing.
Yeah.
I don't really have a lot of interest in the game itself, but you know,
I think
another thing from him is cool. It's been quite a while.
It has been a while since the beginner's guide.
Yeah, I like the setup of it being a farm sim, but its protagonist used to be like a heavy action game star, and she's dealing with PTSD. I think that's a good thing.
I'm just not that aesthetically interested in it.
I think for me, it kind of falls, and I'm sure like he'll do something with it because but like it falls into me in sort of the wholesome games trap that I saw someone on. I can't remember who this is and whether it was on Twitter or co-host or whatever, but someone very succinctly went like, yeah, wholesome games for women. You can do anything. You can garden. You can cook. You can be a witch. You know, anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a sort of like, I feel like there's a wholesomeness games thing that ends up kind of veering into this weird sort of like positive conservatism in a weird way. And it's just
we've just reinvented games, the games for girls section at GameStop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and like, it just makes me go like, I'm sure this one will be good and be about something or whatever, but also like that framing in general is just like a red flag for me for a lot of things.
Yeah, I just don't like the way the game looks.
Yeah, I think it will avoid the trap of actually just being a farming sim because his past two games were at the start about one thing and then very quickly became about something else. So I think that won't be a problem. The other things that pointed at that stuck out to me were the Street Fighter 6 dropping M. Bison, Elena, and Terry Bogard and Mai Shiranui.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
It's extremely hype cast for a second year of characters. The fucking M. Bison's coming out like later this month, by the way.
Yeah, he's coming soon, and his whole gimmick looks cool because he's not the actual M. Bison. He is a guy that is getting possessed by M. Bison.
Is it Sagat? He looks kind of like Sagat.
It's not Sagat. I think it's either a clone body of M. Bison, or it's just some guy.
Okay. But he had like a lot of face scarring and stuff. And
But he also has hair, so he can't be Sagat.
Oh, that's true. Unless he had like revolutionary hair regrowth done as a ghost clone or whatever.
I'm also very excited to see more of Elena, and I'm really, really hoping that she and Akuma get to do stuff together. I hope they lean into the joke that they set up in Street Fighter 4, which is that Elena and Akuma are friends.
I'm glad she's back. She's been away for quite a long time, and she's still one of my favorite character designs in the entire series.
Oh, and her redesign, like all other Street Fighter 6 redesigns, looks spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope Terry is here to help Ken. I want them to have a dramatic intro where Terry's just like, "Damn, bro, you live like this."
We gotta fix this shit, dude.
Ken, buddy, it's been in like a year. You can get an apartment. I know you can.
I also think
so stinky, dude.
I also think it's very funny that Terry and Maya show up to cock block Luke and Jamie.
Yeah, that's right.
Those two were getting very close.
Yeah, they interrupted their gay date.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's fine.
Let's see what else. The Rita's Rewind looked appealing to me. I was excited for that. Because it's the Power Rangers version of Shredder's Revenge. Cool.
Yeah.
Dope.
Cool. My child me loves those things. I'm probably not going to buy it just because I don't have a whole lot of patience for it. But like some of those segments with like the fake mode 7 or whatever look spectacular.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
It looks great.
Yeah. And then finally, on at least for Summer Game Fest, that whole like 5-minute bit with Tim Robinson to end up revealing a new skate game.
Yeah, I have no idea whose idea that was. I don't know if it was the right choice, but I respect it.
Saturn. Tim Robinson is a skateboarder.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's spectacular. All right, never mind. I've silenced my criticisms. That was, in fact, the correct choice.
Like, if you can look up pictures of him skateboarding. Like,
that's
just
amazing.
Regular old skateboarding.
I had no idea. I just knew him as I think you should leave guy. I'm like, I mean, that's a cool bit. I wish I could pull him for like a thing for anything else. But that's also probably how they were able to pull him. It's like, hey, do you want to be the figurehead for Skate 3? And it's like, oh, fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah, I do.
Can we get Tim Robinson's Pro Skater?
Oh, I would love that.
Yes!
Every time you bail out, you have like a 90-second long psychotic break.
Yeah.
Did anyone catch up on the Devolver Direct?
No.
I did, actually.
Okay, you did watch it. It was good this year. It was funny.
Devolver Direct is always a treat.
Yeah. This one, Sarah, did away with any kind of pretense of it being like a show, like a presentation. And it was just a small horror movie about a man obsessed with an old 80s franchise.
Oh, great. Okay, I should watch that then.
Yes, it was very good.
It has it's very early premise, or it's a very funny bit for how it ties into being a show, is that he'll have like a moment where he's stressed out and he'll repeat like a phrase that makes him think of a Devolver game, and then he'll just start monologuing internally about said Devolver game as though he's having like a Zach Braff in Scrubs-esque like weird mental daydream interlude. It works really well. It was really enjoyable to watch.
The games they announced also look really, really cool. Tenjutsu was the highlight for me.
Tenjutsu looks sick as fuck.
Yeah. I've seen Tenjutsu. It looks fucking incredible.
That game looks sick. I'm so excited to play that.
I'm just still thinking of, we thought you were executed by the head of state.
Hey, I was not. Some of these games I'm intrigued to see what this game is going to actually be, like the Crush House, which is a weird narrative reality show game where it looks like you get to pick like between different events and see how it plays out. You're
a showrunner for a reality TV show, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's fun.
It's like the thing is, it's The Sims but fucked up and goofy, but also The Sims is already fucked up and goofy, so it remains to be seen whether it will be significantly so much more fucked up and goofy as like is this identity, I think. Is this gonna be the kind of thing, because like it's like you have like a whole like group of guests, like, you know, of participants and whatnot. Is it gonna be the thing where like, are you gonna get to decide who lives and dies by the end of this? Is that where they're gonna go? I hope so.
Because I could go for
Here's
that.
TV.
If it's the mid-game twist is that it starts as like Sims reality TV show Island and ends up as Saw / Until Dawn, I'm here for that. That sounds wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's what it ends up being.
I thought this game was already out. I might think it's something different, but we saw Angerfoot.
Angerfoot is an interesting one as well.
It is a first-person kicker.
Your weapon types are different shoes that have different powers associated with them.
It is very clearly a pastiche on the old Duke Nukem 3D thing where your melee attack was a single boot, but since they only had the one animation of the boot coming out,
right,
it just made it look like Duke was bicycle kicking all the time.
Yeah.
And then Possessors from the other side of the Hyperlight Drifter staff, because I guess they're working on two different games.
Yeah, they're big enough to justify that. Yeah.
I had no idea they were that size, honestly.
Yeah. Hyperlight Drifter did really, really well, so I'm sure they have like the money nowadays to like have two simultaneous projects going.
Yeah, but like Solar Ash kind of bombed as far as I could tell.
Wasn't that like exclusive though? Wasn't that like a Sony exclusive thing?
I don't think so.
I don't remember. But this game, this Possessors looks a bit smaller scale than the other Hyperlight game. Oh no, Solar Ash is on stuff. It's on Steam.
Oh,
well, I don't know.
Okay.
Steam and PS. Okay, no, it's Steam and PS5. No, it's on Xbox and Switch.
I was gonna say, I think it might have been a timed exclusive for something.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Oh, okay. I see what it was. It was a timed exclusive on the Epic Game Store, which means, and this was like several years ago, which means Epic gave them a giant bucket of cash.
Right.
I see.
So it doesn't really matter that Solar Ash didn't do that well.
Yeah, they paid enough for it to not matter if it sold literally any copies at all.
Exactly.
I'm not sure. So, Possessors looks like a Castlevania game. Now the question is it Castlevania 1 or Symphony of the Night?
Right.
I can't tell, but that's what it kind of gives me the energy of. And then finally from this, Cult of the Lamb has multiplayer now.
Oh, cute. That's fun.
Yay.
Okay.
Yeah, well, they have a two-player local co-op, which is and like the second player has a completely different design, which is
like a little goat.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Billy Goat guy. I don't know if Cult of the Lamb is good or not. I haven't seen a lot of talk.
I played it for like 3 hours. It's fine. I wish there was a little more on the combat side of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's fairly simple action, and it tends to be, aside from that, it's like a little like Don't Starve-esque little community builder simulator where you have to manage the. And it's like, I think it works. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
There's a little too many flavors and not quite strong enough of any of them to make a huge impression to me. But like, it's good and like, it looks great, feels great, all that. So you might like it. I don't know.
Maybe because
it goes on deep enough discount sales for things that it's like I bought it and like I only played it for a little bit. But I didn't fucking return it. Like I don't know. It's fine.
Oh yeah. Also, Talos Principle 2 DLC is coming out. Like 3 whole expansions for that. If anyone has played the Talos Principle.
Wow.
I'm glad for them that's so successful for them to do that.
I guess the Talos Principle 2 must have been like a huge hit. I didn't even know it was out.
I think a lot of people really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, good for them.
Yeah. Once again, the only time we can ever rely on Xbox games to make anything that fires neurons is during E3 / Summer Game Fest.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Xbox was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
Honestly, it was very funny though. Like I was talking to my brother about it earlier today, and I was like, looking through the list of like stuff they announced, and I was like, actually, only like 3 of these things I actually am probably going to play, but it's fine. There was a bunch of stuff.
But they did the thing that they always do, which is good, which is trailer.
And it was the correct mix of groveling and complete lies.
Yeah.
I was satisfied, even though
correct.
like there's very few things there I'm actually interested in playing. It fulfilled my expectations for what their E3 showing should have been this year, considering the everything.
It just reminded me of that old Penny Arcade comic where they're talking about E3. I think it was actually Microsoft talking about their E3 show, and they're like, well, where can we fit in all this bullshit? Let's shove it between the lies and the flim-flam.
That still holds. That still holds.
So let's go down the list, because there was some cool stuff to talk about. Avowed looks cool.
Avowed looks cool.
That game's out sometime this year, and I'm very excited about that.
They apparently accidentally leaked that release date, and it's like November, I think.
Yippee!
Okay. All right, that's good.
That's a good time for a game like that.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't know what Avowed was going to look like, because I didn't really pay attention to it, but like, that fucking title thing with the skeleton...
Yeah, it looks like it's shaping up to be more of a Might and Magic than a Skyrim, which is fine.
Which is good,
Absolutely, and not like instead of like a small Skyrim, which I think is what a lot of people had in their heads, which it basically like the Outer Worlds, but Skyrim. But instead, it seems like it's more like just Might and Magic, where you're dungeon crawling and having like fun system interaction stuff, right?
Yeah,
so that's fun. That's cute.
Yeah,
we need another Might and Magic game, so that works out.
Yeah.
Call of Duty cowered it out and did not go with 9/11.
Boo!
Weak.
Chris Wolfhart did make a good point, though, which is that, of course, they didn't address 9/11. They have to save it as a surprise for the Avengers credit sequence.
Yeah.
God
almighty.
Oh, yeah.
I did end up, while going back and like watching through some of the Gigaboot stuff, I did see some of the, because they had a Call of Duty Direct after the Microsoft Direct, which we didn't cover.
No.
Funnily enough, they ran the Microsoft end sequence after it, so it was obviously still a part of the same thing. They just wanted to pretend that they were two different shows.
Yeah.
There was it does seem like this is going to have some interesting like changes mechanically in it in a way that I think will probably be encouraging for people who like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I'm still not really. I left that behind in middle school for the most part, but like, I don't know. They're talking about like they're making it so you can sprint in any direction. They're putting back in classic prestige stuff. And lots of other little things that are interesting to me, considering how that feel kind of like a response to how poorly the last several years of Call of Duty have been received by literally everyone.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's Call of Duty.
It's Call of Duty.
I hate it. It's another one of those games. It's another one of those game series that fills me with like deep existential dread, especially because afterwards they're like, it's 300 gigabytes. I'm like, you're so fucking stupid.
Yeah,
you're out of your mind.
Western developers been here. How can you tell? 300 gigabytes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's gonna be so fascist this year.
Yeah.
Oh god, it only gets more and more fascist the further up the timeline they go, which is really amazing.
Yeah. Well, if you want a good first-person shooter, Doom: The Dark Ages is coming out next year.
Yeah, Doom: The Dark Age looks sick as fuck. It just looks like an extremely easy gimme.
You get a chain gun that fires skull fragments.
Yeah, you literally load it with like a skull, and then that skull gets chewed up and spat out. It rules.
You get a shield with a buzzsaw on the edge of it.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking sick.
You get to drive a giant robot and also ride on a dragon. Sorry, it's
good.
based.
It's the kind of thing I haven't like played Doom Eternal yet. I think I own it because I got it on sale at some point. But, like, it's the kind of thing I've wanted from more of these Dooms, which is like, Thog don't care about like the UNSC fucking space
who
horse
fucking
shit.
cares?
Just give me a guy in giant armor who uses absurd weaponry to fight swaths of demons in whatever the fuck environment you want.
Yeah.
And just going fully like, no, we're gonna make a Castle Wolfendoom Hexen Quake shit. Yeah, I'm here for it. That's Pog. That's Poggers.
Just give me a very angry man who wants to kill demons.
He's in big armor and he stomps and he doesn't have an aim button because why the fuck would he?
And his armor now has a big fur cape. Fucking awesome design.
Yeah, the fucking armor and cape look is dope as shit, actually. So yeah, it's a winner.
Microsoft were cowards for not letting Master Chief keep like his like cloak.
Cool cloak, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems with Halo Infinite. That's only one of them.
There's so many. Well, no.
We'll
be here all day.
Scrolling down the list. Fable. It's Fable.
There's no gameplay. Who cares?
It's appropriate that it's called Fable because that trailer is just basically a giant complete lie.
Yeah, exactly.
Sarah and I got cucked by Gears of War E-Day.
Oh my god. I've never had such an emotional crash during like a game announcement before in my life, because like it opens on a bombed out ruined house, and it's got like birthday party decorations on it, and there's a public service announcement like card on the TV on an old fashioned like
old
50s looking TV.
Yeah.
And I was like, Fallout 3 remake? Is it finally happening? Because like the whole show I'm going, where's my Fallout 3? Because like if you don't know, in the documents that Microsoft had to provide for the ActiBliz merger to go through, one of them was that they are planning a Dishonored 3 and a Fallout 3 remake, right? So I just, every time Xbox does anything, I'm like, oh, Fallout 3 remake, right? Like they're going to take Fallout 3 and they're going to slap the fucking settlement system into it and it'll become a good video game, you know? And every time I get cucked, and this is probably the hardest I've ever been cucked in my entire life.
This is the worst it's been.
I almost went blind.
I did end up going back to watch the Gigaboot's coverage of this because like they've played a lot of those Gears games, and I was really interested to see what their reaction is. They see the red announcement screen and they go, oh, is it Gears? It's red. It might be Gears. And then the footage starts, and before they even get into the living room, Dan's like, it's 30 frames per second. It's Gears of War. I wish I had that man's superpower.
That's incredible.
It was just so, because we kept seeing Bethesda. We're like, is it time? Is it time? And then
is it time?
This
is time. It was never time.
However, he was also outraged by the announcement because finding out it's a prequel, he went, I have never more regretted playing literally the last 10 years of Gears of War games.
That's correct.
They put out that thing where they're like, this doesn't mean we've abandoned the plot line from Gears of War 5. Yes, you have.
Yes, don't tell lies to me. Don't lie to me.
Don't fib.
You're not going to make a Gears 6 for another fucking 13 years at the rate you're going.
No.
Like, shut the fuck up.
Who cares? It's Gears of War.
Yeah.
Those games stopped being good after like halfway through 3.
Those games haven't been culturally relevant for, at this point, like half of my life.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, does anybody have strong feelings about Gears of War? Gears of War wanted so badly to be Halo. Like, they had fucking novels. They tried to do lore and all that shit. And the problem is that the guy who made it is a dumb guy, aka Cliff Bleszinski. So like, it was never going to like be Halo, because like Halo has the guys who made like Marathon behind it, so it was always going to have like a little bit of like weird spooky space horror depth to it that eventually Microsoft just kind of like, you know, carved out. But you know, Halo 2 and Halo 3 and Halo 1, all three of those games like kind of have the lurking like there's some space horror here.
Like, Gears of War is Cliff Bleszinski firing on full cylinders, but Halo is Bungie going, yeah, we were on that fucking Morrowind-ass space druid shit, and we have significantly dumbed it down to be able to put it on a console.
That's right. And they made something cool, and it got a bunch of novels, and some of those novels are actually okay, turns out. And so, like, Epic was like, we can do that. No, you can't. Nobody at Epic is smart enough to write like that. Sorry.
It's flirting versus harassment of Master Chief's suit canonically jacks him off versus Marcus Phoenix's suit canonically jacks him off.
Right, exactly.
Like the fact that like Gears of War is explicitly about like the Ura soldiers of a fascist government, and it's like really blatant. Like, that's what the story is about, right? And it is so. I played 3 of those games because I liked playing them in college with my roommate, right?
Right.
But then, like, the whole time I'm sitting there playing them, I'm like, this is just fascist propaganda. Like, literally. It's insane if you read it even a little bit. So it's they're just terrible. They're just awful. And who cares, right?
Right.
And then meanwhile, you've got you're coasting off the fucking, like, you're riding high off of how great the Fallout show was, and you still don't have a Fallout.
Yeah. I mean, now they are announcing 76 expansions, but
76 getting a bunch of stuff.
The 76 getting a bunch of stuff because they're the Bethesda studio that was actively making a Fallout at the time when it got a bunch of money.
That's right. And good for them. They deserve it because they haven't given that game money in forever.
And
so
also because Fallout 76 is in a lot of ways a better Fallout game than like anything that normal Bethesda has made maybe ever.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Like, the only weakness it has compared to 4 is that since it's always online, you can't do sick fuck mods to it.
Right.
Exactly.
That's it. That's the only advantage 4 has.
But, you know what you can do in 76 now? Play as a ghoul.
You can play as a ghoul at the beginning of 2025.
Yeah.
Early 2025 is what they said.
I'm excited to see that because, as you two know, I'm a mutation-pilled freak maxer. And
Right.
If I can have, like, 14 mutations on and be a ghoul, I feel like I might achieve some sort of video game, like, gender euphoria.
They've explicitly said that they are letting you be a ghoul to discourage relying on power armor.
I think it's really funny. You watched that interview, by the way. It's really funny that the guy was like, yeah, we always wanted to, like, I guess the creative lead, he seems like a nice guy. The creative lead of Fallout 76 was like, yeah, we've been kicking around the idea for a ghoul for a while. And then the Fallout show happened and everybody fell in love with Walton Goggins. And then suddenly they just gave us like a big boatload of money to like make 76 more. And it was like, oh yeah, that's
This is a feel good story, is what this is.
It is a feel good story.
Because if you look at the original, like some of the concept art from early in 76, like they had like concepts for like you could play as a ghoul or a super mutant or a mole man. And like they weren't able to ever do it because it was Fallout 76 and it bombed instantly and they never got any more money ever again. But now that TV show did well and Bethesda, Maryland has its fucking thumbs up its asses, they're getting tons of buckets of money forever.
They're getting money and they're getting to make all kinds of fun 76 stuff, and then Shenandoah is coming out in like
tomorrow. I think.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
I think tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I thought it was the 14th, so Thursday.
Shin Megami Tensei 5 is the 14th.
Oh, okay, so it is tomorrow. Yeah, so we're getting like all the Shenandoah stuff. It's just like, man.
It's cool.
It's cool. They're gonna keep making stuff for that game and maybe make it good. I mean, it's still like a pay to win nightmare, but like, it's still really fun too.
Yeah.
That's a fun game. Nowadays, that's a fun game to just kick around with a bunch of goobers in. Yeah. So please look forward to that.
I think once that update comes out, we should give it another shot again because
I
think so. Yeah.
Because like I reinstalled briefly because I like don't worry about it. But I just there's something euphoric about getting my power armor out, and it has that horrible cat head mask.
It's such a fucking
and then
nightmare.
I get in it and it plays like a Chinese communist battle theme. Like I don't know, it's just. It's goofy in ways that I appreciate, where it's just like very matter-of-fact goofy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a delight. And I like it a lot. I'm really like, because like the only reason, the thing about Fallout 76 especially is it's a game that doesn't have an end game, right?
Yeah. There's
it's
a fucking around game.
It's a fucking around game. There's no like gear grind or anything like that. It's not even really that hard. Right, like it has raids, but they are like baby raids, right?
It's a social event.
Like you can gear grind to the extent of taking what is an easy end game and making literally all content in the game trivial.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I've done. I have a power armor that cannot be fucked with. Like I have like fucking Secret Service power armor and also a chainsaw that heals me for 2% of my life every time one of its teeth rips into something.
Yeah. So you are unfuckwithable. Also, it heals other people, too. So
yeah, because it's on fire, and I have a perk that means that when I set people on fire, they get healed.
Yeah. So, it's fine. So it's kind of like... And then I remember I loaded into Fallout 76 the other day, and just to kind of, like, click around and, like, see what was up. And the thing is that, like... I think I found every location in Fallout 76.
I can believe that.
Yeah, and it was, like... I enjoy that. Like, I enjoyed the map. I think it's, like, the best map in, like, in a Fallout game. Like, hands down. It's not even close. It is a fantastic map. It's just fun to explore. But it's, like, that's why I play Fallout games. So if I don't have anything to, like, find and poke around in and there's no new interesting quests for me to do, I'm not going to play it, right?
Right.
So yeah, like Shenandoah will probably eat another like 12 to 15 hours of my life when it comes out, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
More stuff. Perfect Dark. We finally saw quote gameplay unquote.
That's that cyberpunk ass shit.
It's I don't think it'll be as egregious as Cyberpunk was, but they showed off a lot of things that we're probably not going to be able to do exactly like that.
No, and it still doesn't have a release date. So
Like they didn't show off wall running like Cyberpunk did, which was
No, they did.
on Cyberpunk. Oh,
They did show off wall running. Wall
Never
running and
mind.
parkour.
So remember when I said that the show was full of like really obvious lies in addition to the groveling? Perfect Dark is one of those.
yeah, there's still no fucking release date. Not even a release window.
Yeah.
Not even
Yeah.
like 2026. There was just nothing.
Just
No,
it was like,
because
oh.
Microsoft has been traumatized by 2022, where they said all this shit's coming out within a year, and then very little of it actually succeeded at coming out within a year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Even Starfield did not technically come out within a year; it was a couple months late.
Yeah.
So it's just that game has been in development, finger quotes, for like what, 5 years now? 6 years now? When did they announce that fucking thing?
I think it was announced on the Xbox One still, wasn't it?
2021, I think it was announced.
Okay. So a while ago.
It's been a while.
And there's still nothing to show for it. We still don't even have like a general like we're aiming for 2026, right? They got nothing. Very sad.
Next we saw South of Midnight gameplay.
Looks good.
Looks great. I love PlayStation 2 games.
It looks like a PS2 game in the best way.
It is the mythical class of plays like a PS2 game, looks like a PS4 game. What else do you want?
Has anyone here ever played a game called Kaya Dark Lineage?
No, but I know of it.
Okay. That's what this reminded me of.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to qualify that by saying I don't remember if Kaya was good, but it left an impression on me.
Sure.
Sometimes it's all you need.
So I'm very excited for this game.
Sometimes JRPGs, I don't think a game has to be good to be good.
Yeah, no, I get that. I play Fallout 4.
I think there's a distinct possibility in which South of Midnight is a 6, but like a 6 I like.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it looks cute. It looks really fun. It has it looks fun to play. Yeah, it's set in a setting that I like.
Oh, I love that setting.
It's set in like Louisiana and the Bayou. That's fun.
I love the frame rate cutscenes, the Spider-Verse style frame rate with the cutscenes, the claymation looks amazing.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of fake Spider-Verse at this year's Summer
There
Games Fest.
was.
Which I like. I like that.
I like that
a
a lot.
I'm
Yeah,
not surprised by it at all.
It was very funny that there's a new Life is Strange game, and it wasn't
It does
fake
not-
Spider-Verse.
yeah.
That's such cheap heat. I know.
We also saw Atom Fall.
We didn't see a lot of it.
We didn't see a lot of it, but we did see it, and that looks interesting.
Conceptually interesting.
That game could definitely be a complete fabrication.
Yeah.
It could also just be another Atomic Heart.
Right. A game that comes out in 15 years.
Yeah, a game that comes out in 15 years, and when it does come out, no one really cares, right? Like, the only time anybody cared about Atomic Heart was really just because there was, like, some culture war shit attached to it, because of course.
Yeah.
But, like...
Hell, like, even when, like, Atomic Heart, like, I remember it was, like, one of those things, like, it was one of the first, like, Steam Greenlight darlings, where it was, like, came out on that early, and then just never became anything.
Yeah.
I remember watching the Atomic Heart, like, early gameplay things where it was just, like, it was one of those things where it was like, yeah, but what is it?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, because it just popped out of nowhere. It had no, like, story or hints or anything. It was just, like, a first-person thing with a bunch of weird robots that you were fighting.
Yeah.
Maybe
and
Atom
then it
Fall...
went through like a bunch of like severe rewrites.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like, total
like,
tone shift.
Got crushed. Yeah,
it got totally crushed just to like get something out the door. You know.
I was trying to think of where I remembered Rebellion from. By the way, they're the studio that for like the last 10 years has been doing nothing but making Sniper Elite.
That's really funny.
Interesting.
Which famously, the original one at least, is the video game where you can get a Mortal Kombat fatality as you shoot Hitler through the nutsack.
Oh, that's fun. That's
good. That gives me
Yeah.
that gives me hope for Atom Fall.
It's kind of like
They've just been making those for like the last decade, basically.
It is kind of funny. It's a lot like you remember the Sunken City, the Sinking City, that Cthulhu game?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I believe the Sunken City.
Yeah, that game was made by those people that make just like tons and tons of Sherlock Holmes video games.
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Is that Frog Software?
Frogware.
That's Spiders.
Frogware.
That's right. Spiders is the other one.
Yeah,
there's Frogware and there's Spiders, and those are the two Western European jank devs who just make fuck all.
And they literally were just like, no, we want to make a real video game. And then they made like a pretty okay, kind of rough, but I mean, it was a video game that was functional and interesting. So it feels like that. It feels a lot like we're tired. We make a lot of money off these Sniper Elite games because they're for sickos. That's not derogatory in this case. That's like sickos, affectionate.
Yeah.
But and they're like, but we want to make something that's got like a little bit more something
zest
to it. So we're gonna make this weird
spice.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably I don't know what it is. I'm sure it's like a BioShock like.
That's
right?
it looks like it'll be a BioShock. Like
it
fight.
Looks like a BioShock, yeah.
You are. It's not. I don't think it'll be quite an immersive sim, but it'll be along those lines, right?
That's another game genre that is basically impossible to get right, to the fact, to like the degree that even the people who made BioShock, because like BioShock is at this point very divergent from immersive sims, right? It's way more action oriented than other like Dishonored, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. Like it's more of just at that point it's just a first person shooter.
Yeah,
right?
And the thing is that so BioShocks are now their own kind of subgenre of video game. And I don't think anybody has ever gotten it right except for BioShock 2.
Correct. I think BioShock 2 is the last of one that was good.
I'm like trying to think.
Yeah, because like I wouldn't call Prey.
Much more immersive sim.
Yeah, it's an actual immersive sim.
Yeah, because like I think the differentiator for me between like a normal like immersive sim and a BioShock like is that like to me an immersive sim proper is at least a little bit like it fudges the linearity a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Which is like what Prey does. Like you can go back through all those areas and there's reasons to go back through all those areas. Whereas like BioShock is largely linear, and so that to me is a BioShock.
I think to be classified as an actual immersive sim is, can you actually do stealth in your game, or can you just kind of crouch and hit a guy in the back of the head?
Right.
That's the deciding factor.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe somebody, because like even Atomic Heart was like a BioShock like, and it fell apart. Like We Happy Few is another one that bombed. There's tons of them. So I'm hoping maybe someday somebody else will be able to get this like, because it's like, the thing is, it's fucked up alternative history, right?
Right.
With like kind of an action tilt in like a weird sort of speculative, fictional, historical setting, right? That's like that's like basically you could kind of squirrel off like it's a subgenre of immersive sims that is BioShock games.
Right.
And like they're really hard to do.
They're
really, really hard to do, as it turns out.
They shouldn't be. It should be relatively simple, but you're still just like you can't get the pieces to line up.
It's
conceptually
the Ace
straightforward.
Yes.
Easy to fuck up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the Ace Attorney problem 100%.
Because like
that should
Atomic
be
Heart fell apart because like they had no money and no time because most of that game was not developed in the length of time that game was being quote unquote developed for.
Correct.
And We Happy Few fell apart, A, because it was also like a procedurally generated roguelike, and B, because like it had this whole kind of intonation of like taking your medications is bad.
Yeah.
And like it was very difficult to like take the game at all seriously.
Correct.
And like it is just appropriately for Microsoft that they have so many things at their show, the BioShock genre is one that is just rife with developers just slamming their dicks in the car door.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, you know what? No, it kind of counts. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, I'll say it. Dead Space 2 is a BioShock-like.
Yeah.
I could get behind
more
that.
so than a Resident Evil 4-like. Specifically, Dead Space 2, not Dead Space 1. Dead Space 1 is just Resident Evil 4. Dead Space 2 is the only other video game that ever did a BioShock game correctly.
Yeah, I can get behind
that.
I still think about the horrible eye scene.
But Dead Space 2 is a great. I mean, like, you go back and play it now. Like, yeah, it's got it's the Alien to Aliens thing, where the second one is way more actiony. But like, I think Dead Space 2 is better. I think it's fantastic. I love that game. Yeah. So, but that's the whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, so.
we saw the thing that took us all by surprise.
Are we gonna finally talk about Expedition 33?
Yes!
A game that looked like nothing until the exact moment we realized there was a party list and a turn order on screen. And literally all of us went, okay, but wait, let them cook.
Wait. See this, like, mocap actor, like, Western fantasy UE5 slop, and we all just start yawning. And then we see the Persona 5 fucking battle screen. Hold up.
Where they're doing Paper Mario timed hits.
Yeah, and like, it kind of has like a Dark Soulsy kind of looking UI.
Yeah, and like literally, I watched it back in. Literally, all three of us are like, hold on. What? Wait a minute. Hold on.
Wait a second.
Now they're going somewhere.
So that's like one of those games where it's like, yeah, is this a probably $70 AAA UE5 slot? Sure. Will I buy it full price day one?
Yeah,
probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I like watching the gameplay. Looks like a combination of Persona 5, Final Fantasy X, with the turn order thing, Paper Mario, and Infinite Wealth. And
I think that's great.
And
then great combination of words.
They posted that thing like here's the development leads of the game. Here's a list of their favorite games, and every game on that list is a banger.
Yeah, it's all like they're like, yeah, our favorite games are like Persona, Nier Automata, Final Fantasy VII, Paper Mario, like good video, like really good video games, and you're just like, hey, wait a second,
wait a minute.
I'm feeling the MiHoYo impulse with it, which is whether or not I'm going to play it immediately, I have to buy it on launch so that they know.
Yes,
so that they know. I want them to keep making things like this. Absolutely.
I have to do my part to make the industry shift towards making shit tons of JRPGs for some reason.
Why did you write a $10,000 check to Expedition 33?
I like that product. I want them to have a little walking around money.
Look, they're all French. And the funny thing is, so I love these guys. I've already decided to just hardcore stan these guys because I went and looked at their Twitter account and like they're so French. I love them. Every single person who replied to their to their like announcement tweet. Like they replied to a bunch of those replies, and they're all dead serious. Like they're all like talking about like the themes of the video game, and like it's very Kojima, right?
Yeah.
And I was instantly like, okay, I love these guys. Ride or die.
Yeah. Also, the core premise of this game is like, ooh, that's good. I like that.
French. It's very French.
Yeah,
that is extremely Franco fantasy.
Yeah. But I think it looks cool, so it's fine.
Yeah, no, I was just like, it's just the turnaround we had on this game is so, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, this looks like fucking
it looks like Horizon.
Yeah.
It looks like Forspoken, it looks like Horizon, it looks like every other game that I've ever yawned at in a presser. And then they showed a turn order, and it was like, oh, never mind. This is going to be good.
Hold on.
Wait, hold on
a second.
Wait.
When I say, like, yeah, I'm not really into the new Yakuza games just because, like, I like the combat's cool, but, like, it's not anime enough for me. What I mean is that this is the exact point at which it's anime enough for me to care.
That makes sense. I like that. Yeah, I get that. And then on the other hand, we saw Veilguard.
Yeah, I know some people who are Dragon Age fans who like what they are seeing. There are parts of it that I think are encouraging, but also like a lot of it doesn't really work for me. Is way
apparently the game does not look like the trailer. The game looks more like a Dragon Age, right?
Okay,
like much more like it doesn't look like discount Fortnite, is what I'm saying.
Right?
Yeah, I forgot because I didn't. We only saw like the fucking announcement trailer. I actually went and watched the 20-minute gameplay thing.
Oh yeah.
And well, that itself doesn't do a whole lot for me because it seems like really simplified and more actiony from like even Dragon Age Inquisition. What does work for me is the seeming thing of like it has kind of transformed into directly just into being fantasy Mass Effect.
Yeah.
I did see some of that, yeah.
And I'm thinking that there's a possibility that if they go full fantasy Mass Effect and just don't have a bloated open world and it is in fact just a hub-based, mission-based thing, that you might actually be able to make like a good, not 100-hour-long Dragon Age game. Yeah. Like I'm like, hold on, it's a little kind of plain looking, but maybe it being like if it fucked up so bad they had to do scope cuts, it might actually be for the game's benefit.
I'm like curious. I only ever tried to play one Dragon Age game, and I was almost instantly put off of Inquisition because I thought its pacing was like insane.
You know, Inquisition is
I played the first one and I bounced off of it like immediately. Like Dragon Age does, as a franchise, it does nothing for me.
Yeah,
I have the extremely weird opinion that I think Dragon Age 2 is the only one that is like
good,
objectively good.
Yeah,
and like that tends to be unpopular just because like when that game came out, it was extremely lambasted because it was extremely developed in a rush time frame. Has a lot of reused content in it and stuff. Like you'll revisit like the same fucking dungeon map like 6 times because they only have so many. But also like it's set all inside of one city and like the kind of surrounding area, and it is kind of like a character drama in that way. And like I think as a result, it works a lot better than either of the other 2 games do.
Yep.
So like I don't know, Dragon Age 2 is still probably worth.
Is that on PC? That's on PC.
I think so.
Right?
I don't know if they ever put it on Steam, but I played it on PC. It was on Origin and stuff like that.
I'm just because like if it's a PC game, I'm like I wonder if they ever like if any like degree of modding unfucked that game. Right?
Oh yeah, they've been modding that shit forever.
Yeah.
It is on Steam, by the way.
Okay,
cool.
Nice.
Wait for it to go on sale because it's $30, which is probably too
they're
much
insane.
for it.
Yeah,
they're insane because like. A, that game came out in 2011. B, it ain't that long. That is, this is a maybe 20-hour RPG.
No. I will maybe grab that when it's on sale because I've always heard that Dragon Age 2 is like the good one in terms of like character writing, not so much in like the video game part, but you know.
Yeah, no, but
I like Fenris.
It's like short and punchy relative to Dragon Age 1, which is a BioWare RPG in the classic sense, and is, I think, an extremely boring video game, even of its own time. And then Dragon Age Inquisition, which is a bloated fucking mess, and the only reason that you play it is because, like, you can make your characters hot in it, which you can't really do in 1 at all. And in 2, the only correct decision is just play with one of the canon designs, because it's that era. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Very funny, by the way, that we all called it. They are, in fact, not making a game called Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Dragon Age Dreadwolf is not coming out, ever.
No, they renamed it to Veilguard, yeah.
But very funny that our prediction was technically accurate.
Oh, yeah. No. The problem is that, like, God forbid I ever agree with any, like, fucking soulless suit at EA's decision. However, Dragon Age Inquisition came out a really long time ago, and naming your video game, after the antagonist that was set up at the end of Inquisition that came out an extremely long time ago is insane. Apparently Solus is the actual villain of the video game, so it's fine.
Yeah, they haven't rewritten the game or anything.
No.
They just changed the name. It's very funny.
Yeah.
They just changed the name for marketing, and it's like, that's fine. You know what? Fine, cool. I get it. I understand. So, whatever. But I do think it is funny that after all of these years of calling it Dreadwolf, they're like, never mind, it's Veilguard.
Yay.
Okay.
Is there anything else that they...
Was there anything else in there?
They really leaned into Solus being somehow even more dripless MSL.
That's correct.
That's correct, yeah.
It's really impressive, honestly.
Really leaned into it, like even more so than he was in Inquisition. It's really crazy.
The only thing I think that's worth talking about, we already talked about, we mentioned Life is Strange.
Oh, I got something.
Oh, what's that?
The fact that the Starfield DLC doesn't have an actual release date that is any time this year.
I believe their date given for it was 2024, but guys, it's June.
Yeah.
It's gonna be more than a year before the actual Starfield DLC comes out.
One of 3, by the way.
One of 3. Yeah, no, they're
One of
so
3,
cooked.
yeah.
Oh shit, they're so cooked. It's incredible.
They either have to commit to delivering all 3 of these, or they're going to have to commit to issuing refunds on people like me who bought the $100 version and were promised 3 major DLC packs.
Yup.
Very funny. So yeah, no, Starfield continues to be fucked while Fallout 76 flourishes. Folks,
which is
you
the way
love
it should
to see
be.
it.
Yeah, it is that's the correct outcome.
Yeah.
This is what Todd deserves for not having learned any lessons from the relitigation of Fallout 4.
That's right.
He went, well, that's those guys. I'll just make the same fucking game I always make. It turns out he was stupid and wrong.
You're wrong to do that. As it turns out, those guys that made 76 actually seem to know how to make your game better than you do.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that.
There is one more thing that was worth announced. That was Wuchang Fallen Feathers.
Yes, this is the one that has a lot of Bloodborne shit. And Bloodborne Sekiro.
With the really cool design female character protagonist.
Yeah,
she looks great.
I'm interested to see, as with all the, I believe, Chinese super games. I think this one's Chinese. I'm not sure, but I believe so. But
almost certainly.
As with all of these, I would love to see it when it comes out and is playable. So far, the South Korean ones of these have all been doing well. I can't really think of any of the big Chinese ones that have come out yet. Like, we're still waiting on Black Myth Wukong. That's due out in a couple months still.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see if they live up to the grandiose presentations, because again, like, as with the South Korean ones, I would love a more robust, like, double AAA games industry out of Asia, because, like, Japan's had the run on the show for quite a long time, and there's been a lot of interesting stuff coming out of South Korea. I am interested to see if the stuff coming out of China is as interesting as well. So,
yeah. So all in all, a pretty solid show.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. They've got some. The fun thing is that a lot of that stuff is not actually Xbox exclusive.
Right?
So it's going to come out and not be killed immediately.
The relief is that we kept seeing PS5 on some of these console releases as well, which is good because it means Microsoft can't eat these studios as soon as the game comes out.
Right? Exactly.
Which is good. Which is good for the devs of Expedition 33, which is I hope you guys don't get eaten.
It's also great they spent so much time, both in the subsequent presentation and at the beginning of the presentation, on Call of Duty, a game which will almost certainly sell more on PlayStation 5 than it will on Xbox and PC combined.
That's correct. But I think that's it. Otherwise,
that's about it. I mean, everything else is just stuff that either it's like it's whatever. I don't care.
Whatever.
We didn't see all the other stuff. I went through some of the other shows. I watched PC Gaming Show. There wasn't like anything huge there. All the interesting stuff I covered on the demo reels. There's a couple things in there that are interesting that didn't have demos available that were cool looking. Airframe Ultra got shown off, which is like a PS1 graphics style, like you pilot like an air motorcycle, but it's like a Destruction Derby Mario Kart kind of game, and you can also get off it and like hit other players with pipes while they're driving their motorcycles around.
Ooh.
That one's on there. There's Unbeatable, which is a like which was at PC Gaming as well. That was it's like a music game, kind of in the vein of like Muse Dash or whatever, but it's a narrative. Like you are a member of a band in a world where all music is crime. So it's a music game where it's a game where music is illegal and you do crimes is their tagline.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this art style. I dig this art.
Yeah, all that was apparently animated in studio, by the way.
Ooh, cool.
Like, they didn't even outsource that. That was apparently all from the people who were making the game. We saw some of Fallen Aces as well, which is the fucking noir-ass Doom shooter.
That's the New Blood guys, right?
Yeah,
it
New
looks
Blood
awesome.
guys. That game looks sick.
I love this art style. This game looks so cool.
We also saw more of another trailer for Abyss X Zero at the I think the Latin American Games presentation. That game still looks super cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
The other one I want to mention is I did go back and watch the Ubisoft conference. Not a whole lot there, but that Star Wars game looks surprisingly good.
The more I look at that Star Wars game, the more I'm like, this might be the first Star Wars thing I actively participate in since season 1 of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I don't know that I'm gonna get it because I'm kind of like there's part of me it's like it's Star Wars. I don't want to buy Star Wars at this point.
I don't want to feed the monolith.
It does kind of seem like it's maybe going to do Starfield better than Starfield did.
That's the thing I'm looking at too, where it's just like, okay.
There was part of that footage where they showed off an in-ship space combat, and then had the sequence where you fly the ship into the planet and do an atmospheric landing in Tatooine.
Star Wars Outlaws is probably going to be a game that I buy on sale. There is no universe where I buy that game full price.
Oh god!
Right. Oh yeah, no,
absolutely not. It's going to be $70. No,
it's going to be low on the priority list when it comes out, but eventually I'll probably pick it up.
But I'm keeping an eye on that because I would really be interested if it reviews well or not because what they showed in the presentation was really compelling for if you were someone. It seemed very like, oh fuck yes, everybody hated Starfield. Now's our time.
now we can swoop in.
Now they'll show them what the good shit looks like. Look, all those systems that you thought would be fun in Starfield work here.
Yeah, I think it looks extremely fun at the very least. It's really funny that it's really obviously just all the work they did on Beyond Good and Evil reskinned.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It also, as I think Chris said on the Good thing, which I agree with, it also looks so expensive that it seems kind of like the kind of thing it needs to sell 15 million copies or Ubisoft will immediately declare bankruptcy.
That's correct.
Right.
It looks extremely expensive. There's so much money on display here. Oh my god. Yeah. And honestly, the fun thing is that I hate Ubisoft, so if it doesn't sell 15 million copies and then Ubisoft instantly implodes into dust, cool.
Well, yeah,
that's a win for me.
If they have to do a bankruptcy flash sale to make $20 a copy off that game, and I can get that extremely expensive Ubisoft game for $20 while the company is actively in bankruptcy proceedings, that's a win-win.
Yeah.
That's
everybody
victory.
wins.
That's the dream situation.
If they manage to make the good Star Wars game that really captures the feel that you've always wanted, and then still go out of business so we don't have to put up with Ubisoft anymore, I think that sounds great. Perfect.
It would be really great to make the ultimate hyper high budget, everything you ever wanted Star Wars game, and then immediately your company collapses.
Yeah.
It's like what happened with the Umineko PS3 remake, where it was fully voice acted and had all these beautiful graphics and new things. That company made that and instantly declared bankruptcy.
That's right.
It's just they push the button to release the game, and then their hand crumbles to dust and they fade away.
It's the equivalent of when some old person dies of a heart attack after while having sex, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just this ultimate release. Finally, I can die.
Yeah.
That's correct. I'm satisfied. And then you just drop dead. You're done. Congratulations, you did it. You finally fulfilled the singular purpose that your company was made to fulfill, and you don't need to exist anymore as long as you make the one good Star Wars game.
You did it.
Congrats. Did it. Don't end it on a cliffhanger, just in case you do explode. Right? Just in case you do explode, please don't end it on a cliffhanger.
I feel like there's no way they could possibly have that much hubris.
Right? No, I don't think so.
Saturn, what are you saying?
I know it's Ubisoft, but also this game is financially built to fail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have to say, I think there's absolutely no world in which this game will be a financial success.
Oh, yeah.
Even if it does the best it could possibly do.
It would literally... they're going to have to sell 20 million copies. They're going to have to do, God of War numbers. And the only reason God of War did God of War numbers is because it was one of the only things you could play on your PS5 for a while, right?
Also because, a lot of that shit had COVID bump, and we're in 2024, and, COVID bump's over, and also no one has any money to spend on anything.
Because of the COVID bump.
Because of the COVID bump. And everybody's broke. And you're going to charge $70 for that video game. I wish you luck.
Tears of the Kingdom's still the only game that got away with it, and even then it probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no. This is not a $70 game. I'm sorry. I know you wish it was, but it's not.
No, I'm not spending $70 on a Star Wars game.
The only reason I spent $70 on Rebirth and Infinite Wealth is because I had to.
That's correct. Yeah, no
The only
choice.
reason I spent $70 on Starfield was because I wanted to play it like a week earlier or whatever, and that was the biggest financial mistake I've made in my life.
Yes.
I learned a lot of lessons buying with Starfield that I don't intend to forget.
Never repeat again. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I do think one final thing from Ubisoft that I did see, or rather didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't show a single thing of that Prince of Persia.
They didn't show a
Sands
single
Time
thing of
remake.
that Prince. No. They did not.
They're like, Sands of Time remake, guys, 2026.
2 years to go. Come on, we can do it.
Do you have anything to show? No. They're so fucked.
They're so fucked. They're so cooked. Oh my god, you have no idea. They are so cooked.
2026 is the number of people that they're going they're
gonna lay off.
Yeah, they're gonna lay them off next month.
Right.
It was them preparing us for that.
Yeah.
2026 is the amount of money they'll make out of the Prince of Persia remakes. By that I mean $20.26.
Yeah, exactly.
And that'll be for me because I fucking love Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time. There was one person on Twitter I saw who was like, if Ubisoft weren't cowards, they would make a sequel to Prince of Persia 08. And I was like, yes, you get it. You understand.
You're the only person.
Truth.
I like that you're like, they'll make 2026 off on Prince of Persia remake, and that 2026 will be me. Like, yeah, I love Prince of Persia so much, I'm gonna buy it on deep discount. I'm gonna get that shit for 67% off.
Oh man, it's the reason I would not spend full price on it because they would never do a remake of Warrior Within or Two Thrones. So like, why would I fucking give a shit?
That's correct.
If you're not going to put out all three of them, like, come on.
If you're not going
man.
to do all three of them, then who could possibly care? Yeah.
Well, God,
exactly.
at this rate, if they were to promise the second
working
one,
on
it
for
wouldn't come
30
out
years.
until like, yeah, we'd hit 2050 and it would finally be coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a shame because even more so than the incredible immaculate vibes of Prince of Persia 08, the world needs to relive the death metal of Warrior Within.
The intense edgelordness of Warrior Within.
We need the ultimate Shadow the Hedgehog that is the Prince of Persia Warrior Within.
I don't know if it's on the docket or not, but I feel like because like we're wrapping up the end of our E3 coverage or Summer of Gaming coverage, whatever the fuck. I'm just gonna call it E3. I don't care. What's more notable to me than the shit we saw, because there was very little interesting that we actually saw that wasn't in the indie space, in my opinion. What's more interesting to me is the things that should have been here that weren't. Shout outs to Hollow Knight Silk Song. It has been well over 700 days since we have heard anything about you. Also shout outs to the Outer Worlds 2, which did not appear in Microsoft.
No, that game.
Right.
There's a huge chance that they killed that game because they're like, somebody has to make a Fallout.
That's the thing. I guarantee you, it got Beyond Good and Evil 2. All the work they did in that game is getting reskinned into a new Fallout.
Absolutely. Which
I
is
would
fine by
believe
me.
that.
Sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also fine by me. I think that first game is really annoyingly written. I would love to have them go, hey Josh Sawyer, we're bringing you in to unfuck this nightmare.
You have to write another Fallout game. I know you said you didn't want to do that anymore, but also you don't have a choice if you want to make if you want to make another dorky history game about like solving murders in like the medieval era. You have to write another Fallout game.
No, what it is like, hey, you punk ass, you want to make a weird murder mystery game? It's your new Fallout. Fucking do it.
Hey,
just make a Fallout, you hack.
Hey, Josh Sawyer, we drove a dump truck of Microsoft's money up to your driveway. Will you make a Fallout? Can they afford that? No.
No.
Well, Microsoft can't afford it. Can Xbox? No. However, Microsoft doesn't give a shit. They'll give you money for whatever. Microsoft will pay you $10,000 for a single pizza if you frame it right.
Yeah.
Obsidian is like, listen, Josh Sawyer, Microsoft will shut us down whether this game comes out or not. You might as well make it.
You might as well just make it.
Look, you might as well make it and then take all the Microsoft money to make your own studio after, which you then also sell to Microsoft for more than the money that they gave you once you put out one game.
Yeah.
You can make a grift off of making studios to sell them to Microsoft.
just off the back of being Josh Sawyer?
Yeah, to make more money, to make more studios to sell to Microsoft.
just a bunch of fucking lawyers being like, is this illegal?
Like, no, I'm just feeding the beast.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh no, they heard me say feeding the beast and they got upset.
You said the beast, you fool! Peanut, that's enough. Boof, boof, boof.
I think that's it, though. That's everything. That's everything I
get
wrote
us
down.
out of here.
All right. That'll do it for us. Thank you to DJ Cutman for using background music. You can email us at thegorgepodcast.bsky.social. Follow us on all our social medias. Join our Discord. Come hang out with us. Talk about these horrible shows and how much we love video games and are sad when they go away forever.
That's correct.
Play FF14 with us because that expansion's coming out in like 2 weeks. Holy shit.
That's right. Please be ready.
And yeah, that'll do it for us.
Fuck Gears of War!
Fuck Gears of War, you fucking blue-balled me so hard.
You fucking hacks! Where's my Fallout 3 remake? God damn it!
Fuck that guy who stole that game. I hope every time when you pee in the future it burns.
That's right.
Yeah, I hope.
God.
God. Yeah, no, I hope you step on so many rakes, man.
Please, go away.
Happens every day, homie.
I hope your Hot Pockets never heat evenly.
I hope you always have a hard time finding your car keys.
Yeah.
I hope you get in the shower thinking it's warm enough and then it's still a little bit too cold every single morning for the rest of your life.
May your light bulbs always flicker.
Oh God, that's a horrible one. Good night,
Good night, everyone.
Night, everybody.